It's time for the open house on WHTL.
What are you, some kind of real estate agent?
You're joking, right? I don't joke about real estate.
With the Hanson Real Estate Group.
I never understood why people are so afraid to eat at an open house.
I know.
The open house starts right now.
Every Wednesday here on WHTL, and this morning I'm joined by Josh Baecker from Hanson Real Estate Group. Good morning.
Morning, Mark.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. It's starting to warm up.
Finally.
You know, I always figure and always say if you can make it through January, it's all downhill from there.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully.
We
can still get a lot of cold weather and a lot of snow, but usually that 20, 30 below stuff is pretty much in the rearview mirror now, we hope.
Yep. We got 6 more weeks, though.
Yeah, well, that's what that rodent said. So, if you believe rodents. What somebody pointed out, though, even 6 weeks takes you up before the official start of spring. So either way, you're going to have another 6 weeks of winter.
That's true.
So,
and he's got a 50-50 shot. That's, right up there. That's probably better odds than the meteorologists have.
Yep.
So
I always put my faith in a rodent. So there you go. But hey, you want to talk about the relationship with realtors today. That's an important part of the process I don't think a lot of people think about.
Yeah, and I'm just seeing this more and more. And obviously, there's really no way for buyers to know how it works, working realtor to realtor. So I just wanted to cover some things so the listeners out there can kind of have an idea just how everything works. Because as realtors, there's certain rules that we need to abide by and laws as well. So it's not like the Wild West out there where everyone's out for themselves and you can do whatever you want. We take ethics courses and we have to abide by certain rules. So.
And, it's like any other service business. I think a big part of it is the personal relationship that you develop, the trust that you develop with a realtor.
Yep, exactly.
So when buyers are looking to hook up with a realtor, what should they do? I mean, what are some of the things they should concentrate on?
So obviously, we've talked before on the first thing you should do is, talk to your lender and get pre-approved. But when you actually come to start looking at houses, if you have a realtor in mind off the bat, obviously, you would contact them and look at all your houses with them. Let's say you don't know a realtor and you start looking on realtor.com and you see a house here you like, you see a house there you like, and you start clicking on them. And a lot of times, I do want to tell the listeners out there, when you're on Realtor and Zillow and all these websites, you'll see agents pop up. You're looking at a house in Whitehall, and you'll see an agent down in the corner off to the side or a couple agents. A lot of those are sponsors, so a lot of times they're not the listing agent. You got to scroll down if you want the listing agent. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, you could choose whatever realtor you want to show you the house.
And they may not even be in your area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they just pay for sponsorships, especially on Zillow. There's a lot of them, so that their picture pops up first. So you contact them, and then they can help you. It's just business. That's how it works.
Probably smart, and I would think that if you're looking to either sell or buy a property, you'd be smart to use somebody that's locally based that knows the market.
Yep, that's always the best because the rules are the same everywhere, but it's just different. We have newer homes around here, and we have a lot of older homes around here. So it's just there are different aspects of everything, and just knowing the different things from city to city, and there's just country properties, rural properties to city properties. We talked septic systems and wells before versus city water and sewer. So
one thing I've noticed with sites like Zillow, Zillow's a great place to go look at pictures of a property maybe.
Yep.
But oftentimes the information isn't up to date, and sometimes the property's not even available anymore.
Yeah, and that's why if you ever hear us talk about, the online stuff, we always suggest realtor.com because Zillow, it has a lot of listings, but they're not very good at taking listings off. So like you said, you can see properties that have sold 4 years ago and they're still on there. Because if you keep scrolling, it'll just keep popping up properties.
Sure.
So.
All right, so so you found a realtor that you trust and somebody you want to work with, and they're going to help you buy a property. What if you're a seller? What if you're a seller and let's say you find a realtor that you want to have list your home and you sign that contract? Are there expiration dates on that contract?
Yep, every contract will have an expiration date. Typically we'll do like a 6-month listing because, we don't want to go too less than that because by the time you get newspaper ads and get everything rolling, hopefully we sell it before then, but we typically like to do 6 months, or if people want to take it out a little longer, we can do that as well. But once you sign a listing contract, we've talked about this with offers before, they're legally binding contracts, and so are the listing contracts. So once you have a listing contract with an agent, they are your representative, you are their client, and unless somebody breaches contract, it's binding until the end of it. So, sellers will have, multiple realtors come look at their property, and they'll pick the one they like, and, it doesn't always work out. So, a week later, they don't like the agent they have, and they start calling other agents, and it's happened to me before. I've gotten those phone calls, and, everyone wants business. You hate to turn business down, but the rules, we cannot try and solicit listings from sellers that are under contract. So, I tell them, I can't help you until your contract expires, or you can, if both parties, you can sign a mutual release agreement and get out of the contract. Otherwise, you're in that contract until it expires.
Like any other contract, you knew the terms when you signed, and you're on the hook until the contract is over.
Exactly.
Now, one thing to maybe you should talk a little bit about, because a lot of people aren't familiar how this works either. Real estate agents work together oftentimes to sell a property. And, how does that work? With let's say you've got a property for sale and Josh is your realtor, but another realtor says, hey, I'd like to help you. I've got a customer who wants to buy that house. How does all that come together? How does that work?
Yep. So a lot of times, other agents will write offers and show houses. So there's a listing side and a selling side. So the agents that list houses for sale, and then on the other side of that, there are buyers. You can just click on, or you can call every listing agent for showings, or you can go under contract with an agent to be your buyer's agent. So it's the same